Pan American World Airways system, with its fleet of double-decked clippers, offers the pilgrims to Rome this holy year of 1950 speedy, comfortable circle cruises to the capital of the Catholic world and to other great Catholic shrines of Europe. Several times each day, giant clippers will taxi from the air terminal at New York with travelers bound for the Eternal City. They will circle the skyscrapers of Manhattan to give you a final glimpse of the greatest city in the New World, and then head eastward toward the greatest city of the ancient one. Even if you can allow yourself only a few weeks, you'll be able to share the blessings of this holy year. For Europe is but a day from the United States by air. Regardless of the season, your crossing will be smooth, for clippers cruise in the upper air far above the weather. The lower deck lounge offers you a chance to stretch your legs by going downstairs 20,000 feet above the sea at 300 miles an hour. You'll spend less time traveling and more time in Rome and the rest of Europe when you go by clipper. This holy year of 1950, all roads lead to Rome. Air roads flown by Pan American Airways system lead from all over the world. Pan American offers from North America 2 routes to Europe. You may go one way and return the other at no extra cost, and visit more countries during your trip. One service is to Ireland, London, Brussels, Frankfurt, Prague, and Vienna. The other via Lisbon, for the shrine of Our Lady of Fatima, to Barcelona for the shrine of Montserrat, and to Marseille for the miraculous shrine of Lourdes. The shrine of Lourdes is tucked away in the foothills of the French Pyrenees, where Bernadette Soubirous saw the Holy Virgin. The shrine, which rises on the hill where she played as a child, is visited each year by more than 1 million pilgrims who come from all over the world. So constantly are miracles performed at Lourdes that for more than 100 years the sick and the lame have been brought to the grotto where the Blessed Virgin Mary appeared. Before this sacred spot, where so many prayers have been answered, the pious and hopeful ask for divine help. Crutches and braces left behind bear testimony to the everlasting miracles of the shrine of Our Lady of Lourdes. Every 25 years, the Catholic Church celebrates a holy year in the sacred city of Rome. For more than 6 centuries, untold millions of devout Catholics have journeyed to the Eternal City on the banks of the Tiber to receive the Holy Year indulgence. Those who will make the pilgrimage this year will see many wonderful sights. We trust that a brief preview of some of the great things of Rome will add to your coming journey. The bridge and tomb of the Emperor Hadrian has been one of the outstanding landmarks of Rome for 1,800 years. The massive round structure, which has often served as a fortress during the centuries, has been called the Castle of St. Angelo since Pope Gregory the Great saw the Archangel Michael sheath his sword above it after the plague of the 6th century. The Colosseum is one of the antiquities familiar to every school child throughout the world. The huge amphitheater held 50,000 spectators, where during 5 centuries, gladiators met in mortal combat, Wild beasts killed each other or fought humans. Even naval battles were staged in the flooded arena, and before bloodthirsty and cheering mobs, Christian martyrs were thrown to hungry lions. From the Colosseum, you can look into the Roman Forum. In primitive times, a marketplace for the tribes that occupied the surrounding hills. When Rome was founded, this place gradually became the commercial and political center of the city. As Rome grew, the Forum grew. Marble temples and palaces were built. Imperial monuments were constructed, and the area enlarged until, in time, it became the most magnificent spot in the Roman Empire. As the empire fell apart, neglect and decay turned it into a crumbling ruin. During the Middle Ages, churches were constructed from some of the fallen stones. The others became overgrown and forgotten. Only in the last century were excavations begun to uncover and re-erect monuments which, if they could speak, could tell the very story of the rise and fall of the Roman Empire. There are other fora in Rome, ones built by emperors for their own use. That of Trajan is well preserved, his columns showing hardly a trace of the passing of centuries. The largest and best preserved of Roman arches is that of the Emperor Constantine. It was erected after the triumph of Constantine, when he gave legal status and protection to the church. Once during your stay, you will climb the Capitoline Hill. Here are the fine buildings of the Capitoline Museum with the oldest art collection in the world, the twin gods Castor and Pollux. And in the center of the square, the ancient bronze statue of Marcus Aurelius, one of the best of Roman emperors. Not far from where he rides his once golden steed are the infant-figured Romulus and Remus, and the legendary nurse that saved them to found Rome. Part of the Capitoline Hill is occupied by the monument of Victor Emmanuel, under whom the unity of Italy was achieved. The unknown soldier of Italy's First World War is placed here, his guard of honor almost as still as the figures in stone above them. Fine views of Rome await you when you climb the monument. In front of you is the Piazza Venezia, with recollections of a dictator. And beyond, the heart of modern Rome. From the piazza leads the Corso, a narrow but important business and financial thoroughfare of the city. Buses have replaced the trolley cars of other times. Motor scooters are the latest innovation in the traffic of the Eternal City, traffic that is so well directed by the white-sleeved police. At busy hours, pedestrians compete with vehicles for right-of-way in the narrower streets, or dodge in and out past the awnings that almost hide some of the sidewalks. Even in modern Rome, you will see monuments of imperial times. Favorite souvenirs of Roman conquerors must have been Egyptian obelisks, for there are many throughout the city. The Tritone fountain in the Piazza Barberini will be a familiar sight to many visitors, for nearby are most of the hotels of the city. You may be surprised when you see how many splendid buildings and fine avenues there are in Rome, for the city has grown greatly since the last Holy Year. finale tunnel speeds up traffic downtown. But traffic is not all fast-moving, however, for the cabbie still holds his own in modern Rome. In the beginning of the 4th century, churches began to replace temples in Rome. After the downfall of the empire, Christianity survived, and through it the eternal city rose again, slowly but firmly, its influence growing and spreading, until today, its spiritual leadership is felt throughout the entire world. The oldest church of Rome is the Pantheon, built 27 years before the birth of Christ as a temple to many gods. It was converted 600 years later to Christianity. Inside, its only illumination comes through an opening in the Great Dome. Holy Year. These words reach every nation in the world. They carry an invitation to come on pilgrimage to Rome. During Holy Year, pilgrims of different tongues, races, and customs, like untold millions before them, will come to Rome from all over the world. When you are in Rome, you'll see many processions, both simple and elaborate. And you may participate on a particular feast day in a ceremony at one of the 400 historic churches in this ancient capital of the Church Universal. To gain the indulgence of the Holy Year, every pilgrim must visit on the same day the 4 patriarchal basilicas of St. Peter's, St. John Lateran, St. Paul's outside the walls, and Santa Maria Maggiore. These are the ranking churches of the Holy City. Close beside the ancient walls of Rome is St. John Lateran, the Cathedral of Rome, the first great gift of the Emperor Constantine. As you look upon the noble facade, surmounted by statues of saints, remember that this church preserves some of the holiest relics of Christianity. The little table used by St. Peter as his first altar, the heads of St. Peter and St. Paul, and the table at which Christ and his disciples sat for the Last Supper. Under the portico is one of the 4 sacred doors of Rome, which are opened on Christmas Eve with the great ceremony that is the beginning of Holy Year. Santa Maria Maggiore on the Esquiline Hill is the largest of the churches built to the Virgin Mary. She herself indicated the spot where her church should be built by appearing to the bishop one hot summer night, saying that where snow would fall that night in Rome, there should he build. And snow fell that night in the year 352 on the Esquiline. Within, among its sacred relics, is the first cradle of Jesus, that in which the infant Savior was carried on the flight into Egypt. The Holy Door will be open this year, and you may pass through it when you enter the noble basilica. A little distance outside the walls of the city is St. Paul's. This, one of the most beautiful and best beloved, is, after St. Peter's, the largest church of Rome. It is the second patriarchal church where, since the Jubilee of 1300, pilgrims have been required to worship. Constantine ordered a small basilica built over the tomb of St. Paul, who was beheaded nearby, and had the body of the apostle placed in a casket of solid bronze. Emperor Theodosius constructed an even greater basilica, which stood until 1823, when it was destroyed by fire. From all over the world, gifts poured in to help rebuild the beloved church. And within 30 years, the modern duplicate of the ancient basilica was completed. Since the day of his death, the emblem of St. Paul has been the sword, the weapon of his execution and martyrdom. The Holy Door, which was spared by the fire, is the one that has stood since the days of the Emperor Theodosius. We have seen 3 of the patriarchal churches every pilgrim must visit, and have had glimpses of the great city where they are, saving for the last a more leisurely visit to the greatest church of Christendom, St. Peter's. The huge dome, built by Michelangelo, is seen from all over Rome. Its proportions so graceful and light that it appears almost as if floating above the city. St. Peter's was erected over the hallowed grave of the first vicar of Christ. The Emperor Constantine was present 1,600 years ago when the church was begun, and himself dug the first 12 baskets of soil, one for each of the apostles. When you stand in the great square, you will be drawn toward one of the 2 beautiful fountains backed by the superb colonnade. As you watch the play of water, recall bits of the history of this hallowed place. It was once an arena where the mad Emperor Nero delighted in torturing thousands of early Christians. St. Peter was crucified here, head downward. The church which Constantine built above the apostles' grave stood 1,100 years before its walls began to weaken and it was taken down. More than 100 years were needed to construct this great basilica, the largest place of worship on earth. You will want to stand on the spot in St. Peter's Square where the 4 rows of columns appear as a single row. Step a few feet away and see the difference. You will see the ancient Egyptian obelisk in the center of the square. Beyond is the Vatican Palace, the residence of the Holy Father. Vatican City is an independent state under the sovereignty of the Pope. Swiss guards dressed in the picturesque uniforms designed by Michelangelo stand guard over the small material state created in 1929 by the Lateran Treaty between the Holy See and the Kingdom of Italy. You will want to climb to the top of the dome, where you can look down on Rome and the entire Vatican City. To the left of the great square, you will see the roof of the Vatican Palace, the galleries with their priceless collections, the Sistine Chapel. Fine buildings house the Vatican state offices. Lush green gardens occupy much of the hill of the Vatican. From Radio Vatican, the voice of the Holy Father is heard round the world. It is in these beautiful gardens that the popes rested and meditated. Through this covered walkway, the Holy Father takes his daily walks, sheltered when the sun is hot, protected when it rains. Lovely flowers embellish the gardens, and when you are privileged to stroll through them, you will catch many attractive glimpses of St. Peter's great dome. Beneath this dome are the mortal remains of the first vicar of Christ. Thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church. This holy year of 1950 will witness many processions and ceremonies within this great basilica. Millions of faithful pilgrims from all over the world will congregate here. New saints will be canonized. You too will want to join these pilgrims to the Holy City to receive the blessings of the Holy Father and earn the Jubilee Indulgence, the reward that comes to those who fulfill the requirements of the Holy Year in the Eternal City.